So the weird thing is, Matt, there's a Key and Peele sketch from sort of like the later seasons where Keegan-Michael Key plays a detective who's tracking down a serial killer, played by Jordan Peele, in a hall of mirrors. And you can watch it, it's on YouTube. And in that sketch, Jordan Peele speaks like this, and he wears a jumpsuit, and his voice is like this, and he laughs like that. That's not us, but there are similarities. There are similarities, weirdly, and it does make you think, that's his idea of a creepy character. He's now put it in a film.
I feel like Jordan Peele's horror output, both the now two that he's done, and I'm sure the many more he's got under his sleeve,
Lord,
and
yes.
also the stuff he's probably going to do for Twilight Zone. I have a feeling he's been sitting on a lot of these ideas for a long time.
Aye.
And
yeah, especially to be able to pump it out so quickly after Get Out.
Quiet
Oh,
you.
yeah. Who is that? Hal 9000, is that you?
You just went.
Alina, I think.
You just went up an entrance only ramp.
Speaking of innuendo, you're watching a mini reaction video, in case you haven't already figured it out, to Us. We've just got out of Us, the new film by Jordan Peele starring Lupita Nyong'o, Winston Duke.
A bunch of really good kids whose names
Oh
I
god,
can't
those kid
remember.
actors are incredible. Yeah, which can make or break a movie, horror film or nay, but they were amazing.
They were really, really good. And this is definitely,
all of their roles.
Without spoiling anything, this is definitely a movie that needs good child actors. In every aspect of performance.
A review I saw earlier this week said Lupita Nyong'o should get a proper sort of awards season looking for this.
Oh, she's amazing in
because
this.
she may be the first person to ever play the final girl, not that thing, but the final girl and the creature in the same film.
Word, but yeah.
No, but in that archetype.
Yeah,
of, the determined protagonist who's not going down with that fight.
It doesn't,
and the thing that's pursuing her.
It plays with a lot of this movie plays with a lot of the tropes of slasher movies, but it isn't strictly speaking a slasher.
Oh god,
movie.
no! I mean, for starters,
it's got a lot of that DNA in it.
For starters, it's about a family, which is a different kind of horror.
Yes,
and they do it so well.
Yes,
this is a believable family.
Such a believable family.
So sweet, and the little boy's going through his weird phase, and the girl's going through a slightly, sort of don't talk to me teenage phase.
Winston Duke is archetypal dorky dad.
He's so dorky dad.
I love him so much.
And Lupita is just this wonderful mum who unfortunately has something that's haunted her since she was a kid.
Been through some things.
An odd event that has sort of followed her throughout her life. She's
An odd event?
She's frightened of coincidences. Things lining up. And things line up in this movie when doppelgangers come a-calling. To say much more beyond what you've seen in the trailers is to spoil it. So let's hit some pros and cons in the most basic way.
Pros, this is a movie that, as I say, it plays with the tropes of slasher movies and home invasion sort of horrors. And something I've noticed between this and Get Out is that Jordan Peele is really good at sort of subverting expectations while at the same time playing into them.
He respects the tropes.
And all of his characters are pretty genre savvy.
Yeah,
which is really interesting to see because it's they so often characters in these kind of movies fall into the same things of like, oh, what are you doing that for? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? And Jordan Peele has clearly seen all those movies, had all those thoughts, and gone, when I write my movie,
my characters are going to be well aware. I mean, we're living in a post-Buffy world.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Horror protagonists are like, yeah, we don't do that. They did that in that film, and that was really stupid. And it's like, wait, why are they referencing films? Oh, you can do that.
I think what's also good is that
cheeseburgers.
He's clearly had
they are good.
They are good. But from working with Blumhouse, he's clearly got a lot of creative control, which is really, really interesting because a couple of weeks back, or might have been this last week, just gone, Eric Caceria, who's a screenwriter, he co-wrote the Nightmare on Elm Street reboot. Yeah. And he was talking on Twitter about how it was so frustrating to write a script for Nightmare on Elm Street that subverted expectations and had genre-savvy characters, only for the studio to step in during production and make them change it to be more traditional.
You can feel that in that movie.
Yeah.
I've got a weird amount of respect for that film. It is not a good film, but it has some really interesting changes in it.
Reading that Hysteria tweet sort of thread, maybe it was like, oh no, he was actually trying to do something that was aware that it was a reboot.
Minor spoilers for a 9-year-old remake.
Yeah.
Guaranteed in his original draft, Freddy was innocent. I guarantee
it. Didn't
and
bring
that
up.
there's more to why he's come back from
He was
the
talking
dead.
about a particular sort of scare gag in the movie that that ended up getting changed to something more traditional. Rather than going with your expectations of what it should be from seeing movies like that before. Yeah. Anyway, the point is, Jordan Peele doesn't seem to have that sort of, in this and Get Out, he doesn't seem to have had that sort of pressure. I think a lot of people who work with Blumhouse don't. Blumhouse tends to be like, because they work in like mid to low budget, they don't seem to have as much
stakes in terms of appeasing.
Because they clearly have stakes in it because they're producing it, but also they
don't have the worry of having to please the sort of the set audience or the set archetype or the people above them that go, kids want this, kids want that.
Because they're lower investment, Jason Blum and the production company clearly only work with people that they want to work with and whose visions they're interested in. So they don't tend to, to be vulgar about it, they don't tend to fuck with that shit. No. They just let them get on with it.
They make some cut and paste sort of films or produce or release cut and paste movies, but they're
there's a reason
their hit rate is higher than this rate.
Well, there's a reason that studio is becoming
the horror studio.
It's becoming the mid-budget original horror studio.
Well, that's where the next take on, is it Creature from the Black Lagoon is coming from, or Frankenstein. It's one of those two.
The Invisible Man.
Might be Invisible Man, yeah, because Universal were doing their thing, but because these characters are public domain, Blumhouse announced that they were doing a version of one of these things where it's
I hope Blumhouse are doing a Creature from the Black Lagoon. I'd watch their shit out of that.
That'd be amazing, right?
Especially after Shape of Water. What's a post-Shape of Water Creature from the Black Lagoon look like?
Guillermo del Toro.
No,
just get Guillermo in.
Post-Shape of Water.
That's not me, Guillermo del Toro.
But
no, he's not the Gill man. He's everyone's favourite Krampus.
He's everyone's favourite, yeah. That's
Big
Del Toro.
Big damn cast year one mascot.
Yeah.
Guillermo del Toro.
Favourite Krampus. But yeah, getting back to Us, it is really. It's a clever movie.
Yes.
It's got a lot of stuff to say, and it's got a lot of stuff to make you think about it. It's not got that sort of instant sort of guttural shock that the twist in Get Out has.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing. Not to say it's not got secrets to be discovered.
There are certainly things that you. The reason why we're being vague is because the marketing does not.
It doesn't.
Tell you
does a really
everything.
good job of not giving everything away. So there are definitely things to go in and discover as the narrative unfolds. But it doesn't have that same. It's much more. This is a movie that's going to stay with you.
Yeah. I'm still processing. In the words of Gabe, I'm still processing.
Jordan Peele's got such an eye for creepy imagery.
He takes his time. That's something I've really enjoyed about Get Out and this. Like he, as a director of horror and a champion of horror, like he's very vocally a lover of the genre.
Absolutely.
He likes to stretch things. He likes to make you sort of go. He likes to remind you that no, you're in this sandbox now.
Yeah.
Sit here, relax. We're taking you on this ride. The opening of this film is nice and slow, like the opening of Get Out is.
Yeah.
It's an establisher to set a tone and sort of sit you down in it. That does not mean it is a slow movie. When it is fast, it is fast. When it is freaky, it is freaky.
And it goes places.
Yeah. It might. I can see it leaving some feeling a bit sort of. Huh?
It's like
at the end.
It just doesn't have the
and I get
impact that Get Out had.
Yeah. Well, Get Out was sort of this weird horror that tied itself up in a nice bow.
Yeah.
This is by no means baiting for a follow-up. it's open-ended in a sense in terms of the storytelling, so that you could leave it. It's expecting your interpretation to fill in the gaps on a few things, and that's kind of fine, because the fear of the unknown is a big part of this movie.
It's going to throw some concepts and ideas at you, not resolve and answer them in the context of the universe, and sort of leave you to stew on it.
Yeah.
And I think that is actually what is going to give it. I think it's going to give it legs as a sort of movie.
People are going to talk about it
again and again, because it's just got a lot going on. Yeah. But not in an open-ended way. Not a this is the start of a series way, but just in a what do you think about this? And what do you think about this?
Yeah.
And I'd be interested to go back to it in a couple of years' time and see if I have different feelings about the questions it asks and those things that it poses. But it absolutely is worth seeing. Like get yourself down.
Get out
to the cinema. Get
to see
us
of
the house.
Unless you watch this and go, I'm not going to the cinema, but I'll watch it on VOD in 4 months' time. In which case, do that.
No, I highly recommend us.
I've never gone to a quieter screen. Well, I've seen quiet screens before, but it was a very quiet house.
It was a very quiet house. Like
people laughed when it was funny, but it was pretty quiet.
Make no mistake, there is funny stuff in this.
Oh God,
there is funny. Like Jordan Peele uses his comedy experience to craft really believable sort of family dialogue.
Yes,
and it's one of those. It's verging on actual comedy. It's on that line between actual comedy and real life sort of dialogue. It feels right.
The comedy never comes from there's a lot of comedy to relieve tension moments, which can be really mishandled, but the comedy doesn't come from any sort of set up a gag moment. It's just the way the characters react.
Although actually there's a lot of very satisfying setup payoff stuff in this.
There's a lot of that.
Not just outside the gags, but just through the whole film.
Coincidences? No such thing.
This guy, he loves setups and payoffs. Setups, payoffs, narratives, tension, characters, conflict. He loves all that stuff. He's almost like he's a writer or something. I don't know. You running a little script there, Jordan?
You running a little script there, Mr. Peele?
Characters, maybe some conflict.
The character finds out that their journey was never going to be an easy one.
It's precise in the way it introduces all the pieces and then
cuts them up.
Oh, I like that. Ooh. You'll never look at scissors in the same way again. If you were looking at scissors in a way
with affection, that's a bit weird.
Yeah, well.
I was not expecting that. Okay. High point. Lupita's performance, for me,
so good.
She's amazing, and
so good.
I was reading something the other day that said this was her first leading role ever. Like as the she's top.
I guess,
top billing,
yeah. She's
which is like, why has it taken this long? She's great. But she's amazing.
Like Hollywood has a problem with women of colour. Fuck you, Hollywood. Put Lupita Nyong'o in more lead roles.
That especially. How about you? What's your high point for you? Rabbits.
I can't say anything about my really high points because it'll straight up spoil some of the best stuff in the movie. So,
fair enough.
If you want to hear my highest high points,
segue,
then you need to tune into the podcast later this week.
Big Cast 144. It'll be the one with us in the thumbnail, most likely. Not us.
Lupita Nyong'o's face will be on it.
Yeah. That ain't no bad thing. Click. I see Lupita, I click.
But yeah, I'm gonna select the other lead performance and say, fucking hell, Winston Duke's pretty good, eh?
He is great.
Can we have more Winston Duke, please?
We should have more Winston Duke in everything.
I think we're going to be getting some more Winston Duke in Endgame.
M'Baku was not.
I don't think he was.
We saw him. He was watching everyone fall around him.
And Okoye's still around, so.
He's still around.
They'd be.
Is Nakia still around?
I just don't know if Nakia's still around.
We're talking about the wrong movie.
Anyway.
But we'll talk about that one in a few weeks.
Yes.
Go see us.
And
listen to us.
Us.
Every Thursday and Friday on iTunes, Soundcloud and YouTube. We'll see you in a bit. Oh! and now cut.
Snip.